Like I know when you first hit me up, you talked about like you guys had come through and like played Minneapolis during a snowstorm at like a bowling alley. And funny enough, I might have mentioned this to you in the emails too. Like I went to that bowling alley for New Year's Eve because they had like a punk show going on that night where it was like two stages, one on the bowling alley lanes and then one in like the
Mhm.
back area. But yeah, a lot of good shows happened in that spot.
Yeah, that's cool. That was one of the first. Well, that was the first time we were in Minneapolis, and then the second time was, I don't know if you saw it. I sent that video of us driving through the snowstorm. That shows a house show that got canceled because like every other car in the city was in an embankment and buried. It was fucked up, but it was just like home though. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
That is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yes, that was the worst snow I have ever seen in my life. And I've been through the 7-foot blizzards in Buffalo.
Yeah, that video looked pretty intense to the point where like I have like a jacked up truck and even I was like I wouldn't even go out in that. Like screw that. So very commendable to do that in your van and just keep powering through.
It it was a situation where as if we had stopped moving forward, we weren't going to start moving again. So we just like kept going.
Jeez.
So we accidentally cracked our beers. So we're going to crack a second one. And that's just going to mean we're going to have to drink two.
because I
That's
ain't no good.
that's that's okay. I have three on deck.
Okay,
Uh
good.
so I you never know how these are gonna go.
Cool.
Um
Did you start recording yet?
yeah, we're all this will be probably be B roll. So we're good.
Good.
Um but uh but yeah, so what we'll do is we'll crack these. I'll do the little intro, bring the three of you in, and we'll just have a good time.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. So in three, two, one. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I'm sitting down with the band On The Cinder. How you guys doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
Doing great.
For people that might not be aware, On The Cinder is a three-piece punk rock band based out of Buffalo, New York. Um, you know, I think I saw you guys have been around since 2013, which I gotta say, you know, now we're in 2024. Obviously, you guys have been around for 11 years or almost 11 years at this point. Very commendable to still be pushing through. I know hitting a 5 year mark and then hitting a 10-year mark in like a DIY band is those are big milestones to come across. So very props to you guys.
Thank you. It's we've seen a lot in these 11 years.
A lot.
Yeah. I think we all just being friends and having like other means to have our friendships go on. Like we're big into video games and sports and fantasy sports, and we have like all these side things and like this big friend group that we're a part of. So we've always got like side outlets when, the band's slower or like when we want to do something aside from music. So I
The
think that
band's
keeps
never
us kind of
slow.
tight.
We there's never not band things to do. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, when we
Or when
don't want to talk
things
about
driving
band
you
stuff.
fucking crazy. So you're like, you know what? I got to check out for a minute.
Right. Well, at least you have those outlets to kind of cope and like make everything not just be stressful about the band the entire time. And forgive me because I forgot I jumped right into it. I forgot to do my normal thing of can you go around the room and say who you are and what you do in On The Cinder?
I am Jay or Jason for long and I play guitar.
I'm Tyler. I play drums.
I'm Mike. I play. No, I don't play
I'm
drums. I play bass. The one with four strings. Oh God,
You're not even drinking.
I know this is an NA, and I just started.
Uh,
Takes me back.
well, like I said, 13 years, not 13.
Woo!
13 is coming. 11 so far, very commendable. Like I I think about this every once in a while. Is like I was really in like my local scene in like that 2010 to 2013 era, and I think from the time that like the bands that were active when I was there to now, there might be one band that's still actually doing anything. The rest have all like life has happened, people move away, or they've started new projects and kind of gone from there. So it's kind of cool seeing the bands that have stayed, and then also like the different like iterations that have come from different like local bands as they trickle down.
It's sort of fun. Like we used to be like this sort of young band, and we had all these opinions about all these other bands and stuff, and we just sort of started getting old, and then we realized that we were the veterans, and then we were like the geriatric veterans, and we like but it's still like it's kind of cool because like we always try to make it a point to check out new bands, like young bands, new bands, and like try to include them in whatever angles of the scene that we're a part of whenever we can. So like we played with some really cool bands in recent history, some young bands in Buffalo. And honestly, like I think I always go in thinking like with this old veteran like approach, and then they always just like blow me away, and then I feel silly. I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're actually super duper good.
Buffalo's also got a really good like old guy scene though. So we're kind of always just right in the middle, no matter how far, because like the old fucks keep like aging at the same forward arrow of time rate. Like Mike Jeffers has like fucking 6 bands,
Yeah, dude. The
and like Johnny Revolting, I think, still exists, and all those guys are like, I don't know, 50
dude,
something,
the 50 plus
but they
hardcore scene in
fucking
Buffalo.
move it. Like
Yeah.
it's gnarly.
Yeah, Michael, it's interesting you bring up that time because that was like when we were getting started playing music and playing shows and throwing our own shows, and now we feel like we're kind of like the only band our age in a way. Like there's a ton of bands that are older than us. There's a lot of younger bands that are like just getting started out, and we're just still grinding and feeling like everyone our age is just caught in the cycle of life, married, having kids, trying to get a career going, getting laid off, and rooting for bad sports teams as we all do. So just we just keep finding our own way to keep it going.
Yeah, I totally get that. In like a different aspect too, like what I deal with here is so like how I mentioned I moved to Minneapolis. All my friends out of my friend group, I'm the youngest at 31. Everyone else is at least like 34 and older. So anytime we like go out to shows, we're always hanging out with like older than me for like it's all the punk dudes, like sometimes the cross punk dudes or whatever, but like it's always that version rather than like Minneapolis has a really good like younger music scene, and it feels so weird because I'm on like that weird cusp of like I could hang out with either group, but I hang out with the older people so much more that like I when I go to like a younger all ages show, it just feels super weird and I feel super out of place. But like it's everyone's still ripping either way, but like it just feels very weird sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep perspective in a way. Like like this band Monomaniac from Buffalo are like these high school kids, and their drummer is, I think she's 17, and us being in our early 30s, playing the show, and it's awesome that our bills can fit together, and like we have this kind of cross section of fan base. But it's like you got to be careful how you treat people and how you approach people. You don't want to be like inappropriate or awkward or lame or weird. So maybe that's just an older guy thing, but like it can be hard to like broach that with somebody. But just play shows together and be like, hey, good set. That was fun.
Right. Well, speaking of some good sets, you guys have put out quite a bit of stuff in the 11 years that you guys have been together. I believe it's at the time of this recording, it's 2 EPs and it's now going to be 3 LPs, because
Feel better.
your latest full length is now finally out. Um, it's a solid album for people that haven't checked it out yet. It's called Heavy Handed. Please go check it out. Um, I had a train of thought there and I totally lost it, which is totally fine because that's going to happen. But Heavy Handed, finally out. How does it feel to finally? I know at the time it's recording, it's not fully out yet, but when this is out, it'll be out. But how does it feel to like finally get this album out so far this year?
Good. It feels awesome. We ground. I don't know. We cut our teeth making this. I mean, this album, the some of these songs were written in like 2019, 2020. So
there is a funny story about how this album actually came together and how our last album came together. So after we put out Lamplighter, our like second full length, we had already had a couple of these songs like in the can, and then we did January 2020 full US tour, got home, the world ended, and by the time that we got back to practice, we played a couple of the songs and we were like, does anyone feel like this anymore? Did we go too far? So we scrapped a bunch of songs and basically put this whole album on hold for like 4 years almost, so that's how we ended up writing. Like we got into kind of a funk, and then we wrote the 10-inch based solely on the idea of wanting to try something very different and kind of like push outwards from what the band kind of had already been. But in the meantime, so like we did all that, and it's a concept album. It's got like some of the heaviest stuff we've ever done, some of the softest stuff we've ever done. And then we just transitioned a bunch of those ideas into filling out the space that we had left on this album. And I think it made it kind of diverse, which, I mean, I don't know, some people might think is kind of cool, but it made it a lot of fun to write.
yeah. I will also add the note as far as funny stories go. When we got off of the tour, it was like we got off the tour days, maybe a week or two before the pandemic really just crushed. And we got off the tour and Mike immediately flew to New Zealand, and he flew out of Toronto, Canada. And he just got like locked down in New Zealand for a hot minute. But they flew him back to the States because, he got deported or whatever. And his car was stranded in Toronto for like a year.
Oh
Like they wouldn't let us cross the Canadian border to get it because there were like no unnecessary crossings. We're like, dude. So we went up to the border like 2 or 3 times. At one point, Mike was like running through government official buildings in the back of them, like by mistake. And we had to basically pull this elaborate heist to get his car back, where we had to have it towed to the border and get denied, where he would like change drivers and just go.
Yeah, I felt very bad. I felt very bad for that tow truck man that agreed to be paid in cash, and he didn't speak very much English, but it wasn't like he was French Canadian either. I don't know where he was from, but I got there, he was detained and very, very worried. But as soon as I got there, I was like, "That's my car. Can I go?" Everyone at the border was like, "Get this whole thing is fucked. Get out of here. You go back to Canada. You go back to the States, and basically, I never want to see you again." And that was great. So I got my car eventually.
That's a great cover for that guy. Just has like a Tommy Wiseau accent. Like you don't know where he's from.
Yeah, he could
He
have been
doesn't
from
really
anywhere.
speak English.
He was just really nervous, and I was like, I don't know, man. We'll get out of here. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I remember that was such a weird time too, because like obviously if you were lucky, you finished your tour and were able to like still go home. When I moved, one of my roommates was on tour and they were like in, I think Seattle, somewhere in Washington, Oregon area, and like they had, I wasn't supposed to see him for like the first month that I moved here, and then he was here before like I've even moved in because their tour got cut short, and it was just a bummer for everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All the time we talk about how lucky we were with the way that the timing actually worked out with that, to have gone out for as long as we did and still and made it back without having to just totally like eat ass back from somewhere like we could have, that by all means we could have been in California and the government could have just said, well, it's over, guys.
Mhm.
And then like all the shows that get canceled and we just have to just totally suck gas all the way back to Buffalo.
Yeah. I think we got home on like February 15th, and like there were already like New Rochelle in New York was already starting to like pop off with numbers, in New York City. So we're like a week later and our shows would have been canceled. It was just very just I don't want to say lucky. It was fucked up, but like
You know, you
it's
might, Mike, you
good
might have
timing.
actually brought COVID to New Zealand single-handedly.
Oh, I felt great. No, no. It was those damn Australians. I'm sure they brought it.
So obviously, you put this album on hold to kind of rework things and get to this new end game. For people that might have listened to it, is there anything on this album that like drastically changed from the initial vision to this final release, having those basically 3 to 4 years in between?
Um, Probably, almost definitely. We have a knack for writing songs and forgetting them and rewriting them. Um, but I mean, the core content, well, it's kind of cool though, because you get there's a little bit of a timeline. I mean, from our perspective, it might just be kind of scattered from the unsuspecting victim, but um, for us, you get sort of like this progression of events that kind of it's almost like a story told in the record. If you like squint your eyes and you listen closely between the lines, you know. But yeah, it's no, I think the whole goal of the album was to sort of branch out, and I think we branched in a couple different directions, and I think it almost like sort of maybe unintentionally helped us branch out by spacing it out so far.
Yeah, totally. Our writing method has just changed so much over the years, and we did kind of get into a groove of like actually recording practice demos, actually putting lyrics and notes on music, in notebooks and like cataloging everything. So with vinyl being so integral to how our band kind of pushes itself, like with how long vinyl takes to produce, we're already usually writing ahead to whatever will be next. So songs have a lot of time to sit with us, and we can listen back to those demos. We can read the lyrics over and make changes as we go, like well before we need new songs, like well before we need to put something else out or feel like we need to put a new song on the set list. Like we've kind of pressure cooked them and let them simmer for a while.
Uh, I know we'll get to it all later, but for this album, for people that are vinyl collectors, there is 5 variants for this, which is pretty amazing. I think it said like equal numbers of each. Hold on, I have it up as well on the other screen. Um, well, was there like a decision to as to doing those specific colors or doing that many variants for this album?
Yes, it was a long argument that we all had. Like every time, we used to do 3 color variants, and we would each pick one. But all of a sudden, let's introduce more, and now everybody's, it's always like a weird like conversation. We got like a group chat, right? And then there's well, there's a conversation that starts with color variants, like, "Hey guys, I was thinking maybe these colors," and then it'll go, "Well, no, we did that one already. Maybe this one," and then there'll be like some memes and some talk about some random crap and some insults to somebody's mother, and then like, you know, about a week worth of conversation later, we'll have not settled on any colors, and then eventually somebody will just order some.
We always have like unintentionally ended up with a theme after somehow. Like there
Yeah.
was the one time that we did the fight against ourselves Ninja Turtles colors,
Oh yeah.
and the 7-inch caustic had
Ketchup and
the
mustard.
ketchup and mustard variants.
What colors do we have? Let's see if we got a theme on this one. Michael, I'm counting on you.
Yeah,
It
so
always
this one
shows up after.
we got green, blue, like a purple, a white, and a red, which all the colors are featured on, you know, the album artwork. So
You know, I mean, it does feel Ninja Turtle if you count Master Splinter as white, but wait, Power
ooh,
Rangers? Are we feeling there was no Purple Ranger?
yeah,
Mm.
no Power Rangers. It's something. It's
The
everyone
the
that's
white
listening,
one,
figure it out and put it in the comments.
yeah,
All right, yeah,
the
yeah.
white one throws it off. It can totally be like lightsaber colors.
Oh,
Mm,
Ooh.
the
yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson purple.
Well, the white doesn't fully throw it off. Isn't Ahsoka's white technically?
There you
Yeah.
go. All right, we're in.
Okay. This we'll find a way to spin that into a really skittily put together Instagram post. Something
Oh
with
man, I'm seeing it in my mind right now. We're just Jedi, just boom, boom, 5 Jedis back to back.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, perfect.
Finding canva.com for like, making posts was both a blessing and a curse because now I feel like I have the complete freedom to just put anything into one idea, and sometimes it's brilliant and other times it looks like complete shit, and other times people don't get it at all. So but Canva is a great tool for bands out there.
Are we sponsored now?
I wish. Yeah, we
Canva
don't pay.
give
Yeah, we don't pay for an account, so
Yeah, neither do I.
I didn't even know that they had paid accounts. Whatever. I
oh
never
yeah.
paid for Photoshop either. Fuck you, Adobe Suites.
Are we allowed to curse on this? I assume we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, you're good.
All right.
Yeah. Way to go,
Uh,
Todd. You told them.
I, I've been doing it the whole time. It don't matter. None of this matters.
dude, I don't pay for any of the programs that I need to for this podcast. Keep it
Good
DIY.
man.
Fuck all
Good
that.
man. DIY or die.
Yeah, that's how we do it around here. Speaking of DIY or die, one of the first singles that was off of this album, is the first song on the album. It's called "Smells Like American Spirit." I when you sent this to me and I listened to that song the first time, and then I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but it actually showed up on like one of my like Apple curated playlist. That's right, I use
Oh
Apple
yeah.
Music. But it showed up on there, and it tripped me up the first time that I listened to it on there because I was like, this song sounds so familiar, and I was like, oh yeah, it was literally sent to me like 2 weeks ago. I've been listening to it from there. That's why it sounds familiar. But
Oh,
it's
cool.
such a great like great I want to say homage, but that feels like the wrong word, but great like piece of just like taking me back to going to those like DIY punk shows, whether it's in the basement and you're paying five at the door to come downstairs, or just doing anything in a house with like your friends and like just there for a show. Like I really loved just that whole song and like how it made me feel and connect to it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
what?
awesome. That's just where we
Exactly.
come
We're
from,
going.
just like you.
So it's funny though because $5, like nothing's $5 anymore. Even the house shows are $10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I don't know if you ever smoked an American Spirit before, but it's an adventure and a journey.
I never took that adventure, so I've never experienced that one.
Good on you. Don't even bother. I think so. I think Mike's clever incepting of this song had a lot to do with, we got a friend in Florida who somebody was like, yo, can I bum a cigarette? And he's like, take the whole pack. And it was a pack of American Spirits. And I think I made a stupid remark about how they taste like paint. And lo and behold, it must have like sparked something in Mike's brain. It was like, yeah, that's like the true punk rock ethos. We basically just do shitty things and love it, and play our basement shows and enjoy our bottom shelf liquor, and we all just thrive in it.
It's an identity. It's not a good one, but it's an identity.
I feel like it takes like a special someone to smoke American Spirits. Like
it's like a marathon.
Yeah, because like everyone that I hung out with that smoked would always do like Marvels, and I remember someone was like, "Oh, I got American Spirits," and everyone was just like, "Nah, like I'm not doing that." And it's like, how much worse can it really be? But okay.
It's a time sink. It's a good 45 minutes. It's the kind of you cut it off when it's like a quarter of the way down. You save it for later, and then you do that twice more.
Hell yeah. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know where I was gonna go, but yes, great song, and I felt like it was a great song to start off this album too, because it really gets you hooked, especially with you yelling at us to pay $5 at the door right at the beginning. It gets you like right in the mood for what's coming down the line. Which I didn't feel like there was really any skips on this album either. Like it's really like in your face. There's a couple, I feel like, ebbs and flows throughout the album, but nothing drastic enough where you're like, oh, this feels like a completely different album. Like it all kind of goes together in its own way to really showcase On The Cinder throughout.
Thank you.
Yeah, we always do spend a lot of time with like the order of albums and try to like, usually when we write there are overarching themes because songs usually come in batches together. But the sequence of the songs kind of tell their own story, and it's I don't know. Do we talk about themes? Is that corny? Is that like let the listener figure that out?
There is like a loose theme in the album. Like it is so much about like we ran a house venue together for a really long time in Buffalo. We did 3 years as the Flower House, and then that that project got a little bit too big for its britches, so we thought we could move it to a bigger place, and that was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. So we moved it to the Tree House, because what's bigger than a flower but a tree? And
that went south quick.
That house sucked ass. The neighbor absolutely hated us, and we had functionally moved out of the college town or the college area that we had done the shows in previously. So we no longer had the frat parties to sort of have our backs against the cops. So that only lasted a year, but we ended up picking up a new place in North Buffalo where we did shows for another
5 years.
5 years.
So we are veterans in demolishing rental properties is what we are.
Yeah, never gotten a security deposit back. Don't want
it. We got the flower one back, but it's because the landlord was like standing over me and Chris. And he's like, paint that wall white. Paint over that outlet. Don't worry about the bugs. Paint the bug into the wall. Just,
paint that
yeah, go mop. And did someone punch a hole in this wall? I don't care. Someone's moving in later. Get the fuck out of here.
Did someone punch a hole through this wall and through the wall behind it?
Yeah.
We had some incidents where some people were less than with it, and they may or may not have been part of our band and may or may not have punched holes through walls.
It was only one time, but damn, was it lucky.
It happens. It happens to the best.
I don't remember any of this. I don't know what you're saying.
Your fish probably does.
It was a game. We were playing a game. It wasn't anything crazy.
It wasn't a
Thing is,
hostile punch. It was an excited punch.
It was fun.
Yeah, we were playing tag, and I wanted to go through the bathroom wall.
That's actually kind of true. Somebody ran to the bathroom, did not get tagged, and Mike tagged him anyway.
It's very impressive.
It was. He fell asleep about 10 minutes later.
Impressive.
So anyway, when I said we were going to derail this whole conversation,
I'm down for it. So the house I lived in when I moved here was also like a pretty decent like punk house to an extent. Like by the time I moved out, we were all like not as punk. Like we all like just had normal jobs and like stopped booking shows. But there used to be a lot of shows booked in our house. I think it had been rented by someone that knew someone for like probably 13 years or something like that. We were the last people to move out. I remember like when I moved in, they had slowly started like fixing everything. We didn't get a deposit back. Granted, I didn't have to put a deposit in when I moved in, so we didn't really care. We were just like, all right, we're out. Like, fuck it, see ya. I remember like going down in the basement because the shows would be in the basement. There was like the ceiling came down, and there was some reason like a giant hole there, and I think they kind of just patched it and with like not full drywall, so like you could still press it if you wanted to, and like it would just kind of like flex and like squish, but it was dark enough where you didn't see it when you would walk down the stairs.
Did it have a cool house show name?
It was just called the Charlie Siren House. Charlie Siren was the band that all lived there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, our original house just was on Flower Street. The last house is a Simpsons reference. We were called the Noiseland Arcade.
Oh, nice.
I think one of the most like weird ass house shows that I've ever been to was actually in Rochester, and it was with mine and Mike's old band, and we were like coming back. We got stranded in Ithaca because we just played with the Toasters, and like a huge snowstorm hit. And we got back and we ended up going to the show, and a lot of things happened that make me not remember so good. But I do vividly remember following some people into the attic and then watching the band through a hole in the ceiling. And then I may have actually also put some holes in that wall with a friend who is not here, actually.
Oh yeah.
We were asked to leave.
I can't imagine why.
We were leaving, and they told us to go faster.
I remember we played a show it was either out, I think it was outside like Rochester area, and this would have been like 2013 or 2014. It was a house show. We played with a band called Hideout, and then we also played with a band called Storm the Bay, if you remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a pretty sick house show. I just remember like everyone going crazy for like Hideout, and like the floor in the living room that we were playing in, you could just feel the whole thing just like flexing the entire time. And it was like hot as hell in there because it's like August, but like we were just like, okay, this floor is for sure just gonna go at any moment, and it's just gonna be like 40 punk kids that just are stuck in a basement. Thankfully, it didn't happen, and we made it out alive, and then got burritos afterwards.
Hell yeah!
I think Hideout was Robbie's band prior to Sadai, and after this is a Stick Up.
Yeah,
I think Hideout was like in the middle of that. But Storm the Bay, that was a big deal. Like,
yeah, it was like when we played with them, it felt weird because I think they had just like were doing like a one-off show or something. It had been like a while after like their big hype.
Yeah,
we were still like super hyped. Yeah, but we were still super hyped. We were like, how the fuck are we playing with these guys? We're like nobodies from Iowa, and it was a good time.
I mean, shoot,
Awesome.
good. That's awesome. I'm sorry. I'm noticing that you've got all these sweet like flag banners behind you,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, we should like sell sweet flag wall art. Like, what are we doing? You guys wanna make some sweet flag banners?
I have a flag. I got a Shirley Manifesto flag.
I'm saying we should make some for our band. Would you buy? Well, would you accept an On The Cinder flag as a gift?
Of course.
Circa
I got a perfect spot.
5 or 2026 maybe. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, you let
It
me
looks
know.
like that mixtape one in the back is a square rather than like a flag rectangle. Is the
Yep.
square the look, or is the rectangle the way to go?
I think it really depends on like kind of the image, because I think these are all I've had these all since at least probably 2015. So that it kind of depends on the year, but I like either one. It really depends on what like image you put on them. But I have like 4 or 5 that are squares, and then the rest are all like this normal style.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Notice that the image hangs vertically.
Yeah. We got to take some notes here.
I do have some that hang kind of like sideways, but still like the image is, so you would just hang it like the other way.
All right.
Yeah.
We're cooking up some ideas. We'll get some flags going.
Oh, they're cool. I got one.
So okay, that's a good segue. What is like your favorite band merch that you got?
My favorite band merch that I've gotten, that's
Maybe it's a loaded question.
I feel like that's a tough one. Like I don't. I feel like that's a hard one, because like I have a bunch of flags, shirts that I still have heaps of that I don't fit into anymore, like most of us do. I have a few good band hats. I did have a band send me like that is like their like mascot, so they sent me like a plushy version of that, so that was kind of cool.
That's vaguely terrifying, but also really cool.
But yeah, like I'm there's nothing that I'm like super. This is no diss to anyone that's listening to. There's like nothing that I'm like super like, oh, like this was the best thing I've ever gotten. Maybe now that I've gotten into vinyl, like that's probably like the cool like things to show off, I would say, than it compared to like anything else. Shirts you outgrow, vinyl you never do.
Yeah,
That's true.
I've got my own, like, my drawers are. I have 3 drawers. It's underwear and socks top, regular shirts middle, just band shirts bottom drawer. And I cut them up and I tear them and I audit them a lot. Like every year I donate a bunch, especially when bands aren't active or like were canceled
Oh,
or
those are
Oh yeah.
well, the anti-flag shirts definitely got they got put to
Adios
shame, but
86 those fuckers. But,
I mean, so
uh,
I had a conversation with our TM buddy today about whether or not it's a piece of history to have something like that, even though they're fucking shitheads. Like it's like getting like a World War II relic, or is it like you definitely don't want to own that for fear of being associated with that?
It's a tough line to walk. Like Lemmy collected fucking Nazi memorabilia.
Right.
But he's Lemmy, so he can just kind of do whatever he wanted. And people are just like, ah.
Yeah.
Like if I just had a bunch of fucking iron crosses on the wall, people would be like, hey man,
Sure.
you probably shouldn't do that.
But like if you had like a crazy like World War I like Russian helmet with a weird spike on it, it'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool.
mm,
So you gotta pick your battles, I suppose.
I mean, I guess World War I is less directly offensive to many groups of people.
That is true. It
Yeah.
is less racist or anti-Semitic.
were you referring to the Kaiser Wilhelm, like
Yeah,
German?
the pokey, the funny, like I don't know why they had that. Was it so that they could take their helmet off and stab people with it?
I think it was to make headbutting
Probably.
more effective.
Yeah.
They're already plenty effective.
We are the headbutting army. This is our strategy.
Have you guys heard that Belushi Speedball put like that? I don't know what it's made out of, but it's like the base is a golden piece of pizza, and on the top is their single on a record. It's probably a lathe cut on top of like this just slice of pizza like plastic thing, but they sold really fast and they only made like 50 of them, and that's a little something that's new out there if you're a collector and you want something that's like cutting edge, like
Belushi
pizza
Speedball also has their album playable as an N64 cartridge.
That's pretty
These
sick.
guys, see, this is
Belushi Speedball is people that we want to party with.
this is what I was trying to like survey the room here. Like that, these are some crazy merch items. Although the N64 cartridge is a little bit niche, but like I'd buy it maybe.
Yeah. I know like I did like a grab bag thing. I think it might have been like from Smart Punk or like some other distro. And one of the records they sent me was a Casualties album, but it's like in the shape of like a saw blade. So it's just super like it's only like a 7 or 10 inch really, but it's got saw blade like fucking like hooks and everything, and it's the stupidest thing to try and put back in its sleeve every time. And I'm like, it looks cool, but I'm never gonna touch this again. So it's just kind of put away.
It's a serrated record.
Yeah.
Less Than Jake has one that's shaped like a piece of cheese.
Again, there's so much vinyl there that is unused for musical purposes. It's just excess. But all right, well, what other things are round? You do like a car tire,
Bowling.
I mean, I personally I haven't posted about these yet, but I ordered Beers with Bands magnets, so I have a bunch of these mainly because I was like I shouldn't have disposable income and access to this stuff, but I ordered it anyways. Because like I always think back to Spaceballs with Yogurt when he says merchandising. It's all about merchandising. Just put your name on fucking everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll definitely try to get some of those magnets. You have shirts?
I do, yeah.
All right, we'll go looking at your store later.
All right, you let me know. But yeah, like I if I could put my logo on it, I will try and put my logo on it for no reason.
This is where stickers are huge. You can so when we were like really young as a band, this has less to do with stickers, but it sort of just inspired this thought. We were like, people smoke at shows all the time and people want lighters. So we went to find the cheapest lighters that we could like put our stuff on.
Directly from China.
Ordered like 150, 250 lighters directly from China. The first batch we tried to screen print, tiny screen printing, but the second batch it was so tough to screen print that I think the girl I was dating at the time was actually handwriting them in like a paint marker, with just writing our name on lighters. And then we would just spray them with like clear coat spray paint. And we got reports back from numerous people, like more than 10 people, that these things were blowing up.
Some people still have them. Huge bad battery. Like those motherfuckers had to like refill it or something.
Damn.
Yeah, that's like the cult level, like original people we were doing shows with, like out of the blue, like, hey, I haven't seen you in a decade, but look what I got. And it's a fucking like weird colored lighter that just cracks and like hardly worked in the first place.
Oh
the paint has like sunk to the bottom.
There was a batch of them that came through where like the flame wasn't quite cutting it. So we ripped the little metal piece off and like adjusted them all and put them like reassembled them. It took forever, and it was my like 21, 22-year-old stupidity. It was like, yeah, this is necessary. And I would like put like 7 or 8 of these things in my pocket, and then every time somebody needed this, a lighter for a smoke, I'd be like, I just here. No, I'll light it for you. Keep it. This crappy guerrilla marketing.
Some of those turn into like absolute crack lighters too, like fucking 6-inch flame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a few band themed lighters, and then I remember this one venue in like Albuquerque when we played there. They were like, "Oh, everyone in the band gets a free lighter," like with like it was a promotional thing for like the venue. So I ended up with like 3 or 4 lighters with like this venue in Albuquerque's name on it for no reason. I was like, we're all like 19 to 20. This is probably a bad idea to give us all lighters in the desert. Like shit's gonna get burned.
That's funny. Have we gone through all the good questions? We should. I feel like we're way off of what we were aiming at.
No, you're good, man. I hit most of my stuff. I try and keep it going, but hopping back into this record for people that are still with us here, there is kind of a theme throughout this, and then with it, you also do have currently 2 music videos out. One for "Smells Like American Spirit," which is kind of you guys playing together in like the practice space that you guys use. And then you have another one out for Pure Mess, which has more of like a storyline to it, going through. This guy has a real baking problem with his flour. Not to give too much away, but I thought that music video was really well done for that song, of like just the message behind it and everything. How was that, like putting that from mental thought to paper to film?
That was a blast. It was.
Uh, it was a tough concept to like pitch, and as we all kind of worked on the idea of it, I think we shaped it to something we could all understand, but like it it's a little it's different. I've never seen another band do that, so
So we
props
we
for
have
us.
this we have this terrible knack for trying to be serious and then always end up being the exact opposite of serious. Like, if you get a chance, go back and watch our 7-minute magnum opus that was Soapbox in 2015. That music video is so long and so ridiculous. But I think there was at
For a
least
2-minute
me.
song.
What's that?
For a 2-minute song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7-minute video, 2-minute song. There's like it's absurd. But so I think, to me, we started this video, this serious song, and I thought when we started talking about it, it was going to be this kind of serious video with like this sort of message and heart. And uh by the time we started shooting it, we were like blasting my friend in the face with flour for the 9th time in a row. And like, I mean, maybe I'm giving too much away, but it does have a serious message if you like pick out the serious parts. But I think there was a lot of disagreement in the room about what level of serious or not serious this music video was supposed to be.
Until we got into the basement of the liquor store and had like 15 beers, and then we were like, nah, what if it's funny?
I felt like it was like the right amount of like uh comedic relief for like the heaviness of what it was supposed to be. I mean, obviously it's funny watching someone get pelted with flour into the face, and then watching them also walk a bag of flour. All spoilers. People should have watched this already, or go watch it right now. But I feel like it kind of almost needed to be in there. Otherwise, if you would have made it like too serious, it would have. Not to say it wouldn't have come out still good. It would have just been like a totally different thing, and I don't know if it would have fully been On The Cinder then without like the funniness.
No, we play serious songs, and we are basically giant nerds who are goofing about stupid things most of the time.
Yeah.
It
Like
is a weird. We've talked about it before, where it's like there's such a dichotomy in the band. Like Mike has put it out there before to be like the band is like when we play the music, it's very, very intense. and we kind of work a lot of shit out in like the writing and the playing part, so that all the other times that we exist, we don't have to do that shit.
Yeah.
There-
Like
there's
with,
an
sorry.
like the outlet is already there for it, so I don't got to worry about it.
Yeah. And with that Pure Mess video, like we were trying to get so much stuff in line for the album. Like we are Flower House Records, like everything going into this release is on us. And I was like, what's something simple that we could make our own, that like we could do it like a one-man show in a way? What's something that would prompt this character to work on, himself and changing? And this concept of like, what we went with, we all grew up watching like terrible internet like videos from the early 2000s, and people having camcorders and making just terrible footage. But we that's what we grew up on, and it kind of showed us that we can carry that ethic of like college humory kind of stuff with not nearly as good writing, but like we can tell a story that is unique at least, and maybe funny, and can suit the song. And having one person be the like character in it was making it so easy to just schedule and get it done. So like, and spend more time editing. That's what takes the longest with video.
Yeah, Mike's got shell shock from the whole editing process.
It's such a motherfucker. It really is. But it's fun. It's fun when it comes together. When you're
Yeah.
done, it's like, oh, all right, here we go.
The worst part is when you get done and you're like, oh, dude, that came out really well. I should do another one. And then you get into the other one and you're like, why did I decide to do this again?
Yeah.
My head is off to people who actually like making videos, because every time we've ever made attempts at making videos, it's like a disaster. It is like again, the 7-minute soapbox video, we were in the basement of a liquor store until 3 a.m. twice, and we were like our mouths have been duct taped, and
I slapped Mike like 11 times.
and yeah, everybody was just,
You only
what
needed
are
to
we even
twice.
doing here?
The last two weren't even for the shoot.
Obviously, like I said, there's these two music videos out so far. Can we expect any other music videos for any other songs on this album?
We're definitely working on it.
Yeah,
Mike,
I mean, we've got a lot of touring coming up. Like, we're heading to New England this weekend. It'll be the second to last weekend of April, which I guess we're in the past. Are we in the future? Because
So
we're talking about the future, but this will be in the past.
yeah,
If you just-
technically, at the time that this comes out, it'll be in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the record will be out by then.
Yeah.
So we have all of our hometown shows. We're playing Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. Those are all going to be release shows in May. Then we're going to the West Coast in June. California, up Pacific Northwest. We'll be doing a bunch of shows there. So when we get home, we can breathe, and like the record will be out. We could get another video together, and that could push some of the music that like is out at that point, and just kind of gives us another chance at life with the song in a way. Like, just push it along a little bit further, give it some gumption in a way. As long as we have the right idea, we'll do it.
you divulging our marketing strategies?
Hey, if this isn't, I mean, this is beers with bands, so like, yeah.
So
The Seeing Snakes the Seeing Snakes episode is so drunk compared to the like they were just like shit talking each other the whole time.
Yeah. That was a That was all on like a Tuesday too. It was rough the next morning to go to work. I was like, why did I do that to myself?
This is Seeing Snakes from Philly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to that right after this.
Be ready. So I I know you just mentioned you're playing like 3 kind of like hometown album release shows for this. You know, a lot of things that bands will do depending on where they're from. They usually get 1, maybe 2 good like hometown album releases. But how does it feel to be able to have 3 and to be able to do 3 and
Well,
still like do all that?
let's not count those chickens quite yet. But
Okay.
those, I mean, so good, bad, or otherwise, we technically hail from 3 different cities that are on one highway through New York. So I'm from the Syracuse area. Mike is from the Rochester area, and Tyler's from the Buffalo area. So whether or not they are going to be, and no, don't get me wrong, like all of these cities have been extremely good to us. So I have nothing bad to say about my hopes and anticipations for the show. But we've
definitely played Buffalo a lot.
yeah, we've definitely we've got a more current folks in Buffalo, but it does feel good. It feels really good. And it's nice to have like 3 releases, even, whatever happens, and we're willing to accept that. But yes, to answer that question, it's gonna be a whole month. The month of May is gonna be like our big whoa, we did it. We finally fucking did it.
It's gonna be hard on my liver.
Which is it's gonna be hard on Tyler's liver.
But like you said, as no matter how they go, it's still nice that you're able to do it in 3 different cities in your home cities, and at the end of the day that your ride or dies, your good friends are still going to be there, whether there's a packed house or not. For the shows that I've always been a part of, whether there's a packed show or not, if your main friends, your day ones that have always been kind of by your sides, as long as they're there, like I feel like that kind of makes up for whatever else happens that night.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure. Yeah, Buffalo always turns out like that's our strongest market. It's really where the band's from, so we'll be pushing that a lot, and I expect the turnout to be really solid. And the bill is, I think, fantastic. I'm so excited for that.
That particular bill, I don't even know if we're gonna be the ones turning people out. I mean, we're just stoked on how like the other bands we're playing with. It's gonna be a crazy so there's a band called Speed Dial that's definitely like got some like Dinosaur Jr. vibes going on, and they've been a lot of fun. I've worked with them before. And there's a band called Spud, and I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a potato-oriented band, and that's because it is. So that's a fun time. I'm actually gonna bring a bag of potatoes and hide it behind the merch table, and we're gonna. I don't want to say we're gonna throw it at them because that implies like a very hard round object is gonna be thrown at somebody, but we're gonna throw it near them. And who's our last band on this bill?
Starjuice.
Oh yeah, Starjuice is like old friends. Like we've been playing with them for years, and they're like if
God, we've been playing with Sydney since she was a fucking
yeah. So Sydney, who fronts Starjuice, was actually in one of our very early music videos for Queen of Wands, and then she went to be an actress in like some crazy Sundance festival music, or not music, in like movies and stuff. And so we don't tell her this, but we low-key take all of the credit for her acting career.
Yeah. Yeah, like with Rochester is my hometown. We're playing in like what I feel is the best venue in town, the Bug Jar. Put a cool bill together. I think that show will go really well. Syracuse is like it's a cool venue, Funkin' Waffles, and the scene that we're kind of like we rub elbows with is the Syracuse. What is this?
SPDS, Syracuse Punks, Drunks, and Skins.
Yeah, and like a couple of their like scenes bands are on the bill, so I think that will really help get a bunch of kids out. And it's cool because it's like a younger scene too. So We're doing an all ages show there, and with younger bands, and that's probably the most like I don't know, risky, but I think with it being so ingrained in their scene as it is, I think the show will go really well.
Yeah.
Mm. I feel like the more times you point out how much younger the bands are, the more old I feel.
Didn't you say earlier we're like old geriatric punk
Yes,
rock?
you're right. I stand corrected. You're right. We are old geriatric. No, I feel like we play good punk rock and we are approaching middle age gracefully.
I'm
We're
31. Fuck you. I actively reject the aging process. I went skateboarding 2 days ago.
Yeah,
how do you
that's
feel?
Great.
isn't there a pew 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 song about this?
There is. I said it's mid-20s.
Early 30s skateboarder.
Early 30s skateboarding.
I really hope
I
that's
did have that song in my head while I was like hitting the ledge. I was like, damn, I do hope I don't get hurt.
The best songs just come from honesty, you know.
Yeah.
Have you ever, that band has some really, really great, very down home songs. That's the only word I can use to describe them. They really just describe the lives of a person like us.
I got that PPP record from Pooza.
Yeah. I remember that. Have you heard of this band? It's hard to spell.
Yeah, isn't it like PKEW just 3 times, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, I'm slowly starting to get into them finally. Like I've talked about this before, but like I hit my emo punk scene phase way later than everyone. So like while everyone was listening to like, Blink 182, Sum 41, all that stuff like growing up, I listened to like a lot of rap and Hollywood Undead, and then got into everything else.
Hollywood Undead.
Okay.
All right.
Hey man,
Yeah,
I got room for
it
that on my
happens.
playlist.
But yeah, so like me getting into a lot of like these like pivotal like punk bands, I feel like it's taken me a little bit longer to get into, but man, I've been missing out on a lot of shit. That's all I gotta say.
No, I mean you're good. That's the best time to explore it now, is now that you've got like your wits about you.
Right.
Like you like Aesop Rock?
I haven't listened to Aesop. No.
Oh, let me send you a record.
Okay.
He's rad. Okay, I'm trying to think. We should do a punk rock rap album. I know so many rappers.
Oh, man, I've never heard a worse idea. Have you? Oh, this is a good one. Wait a minute. Have you ever heard one of the worst features of all time?
I don't know, man.
Do you know the band Set Your Goals?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear when Haley Williams from Paramore does a rap break in one of their songs?
I don't think I've heard it, and I don't know if I want to now.
It'll destroy both bands for you.
I don't know if I heard that.
It's terrible. I don't think it's on Mutiny because Mutiny is good.
I'm definitely gonna go looking for this after.
But man, it like, holy shit. Like apparently it was just some like happenstance bullshit where they were like recording in the same studio, and then somehow this happened, and I think Set Your Goals was probably like, no one actually knows who we are, and they're like in the process of recording Riot or some dumb shit. And they're like, this can only be good for our career. And then that band was never heard from for the next 30 years.
Well, speaking of songs that don't sound terrible, be sure to check out every song on Heavy Handed. If someone's just now getting into On The Cinder and they're finding Heavy Handed, I'm gonna kind of turn it back to like my typical kind of like Warped Tour question. Like, let's say there's a line of people, you have one song, one chance to kind of like sway them to listen to Heavy Handed. what's the song that you would at least pick for them to listen to be like, hey, we're heavy-handed. This is how we sound. Check us out.
This is such a loaded question. Oh my god. I'm not going. Mike, go first.
Oof. It's tough. I mean, American Spirit kind of does that. That's the whole point of it being like the opener of the record. Like it's a very like culture setting song, and it really establishes the theme. So like, I mean, we also wrote it knowing we needed like a first song, and I was like, this kind of weird jaggedy riff is kind of cool to start it. So, um, I'd say American Spirit.
Oh Jesus. To get like it's so hard because there is such like a variance of songs. I feel like I would adjust it to like who I'm talking to. Like if it's a dude wearing like a Man Overboard shirt or something, I'd be like, you should probably listen to Pure Mess if you think that you're gonna like this band. But then I don't know if there's a guy wearing like a I don't know Converge shirt, I'd be like, you should probably listen to Hollow Apology. I don't know if there's a dude wearing a No Effect shirt, I'd be like, go listen to Coping.
So what he's trying to say is he has no decision at all on the subject.
My plan was to crowdsource a plan.
I think I've pretty much sold my soul to a song called Bravest New Face on this record. That's definitely to me, like, so as a band you're always biased, like, because we have this side element of like what's enjoyable to play. So like I love that's the one I have a really good time playing, and I have a really good time like I think it's good to listen to. Whereas like there's other songs that I really enjoy playing, but maybe aren't crowd favorites, and then vice versa that are kind of boring to play, but people seem to love. So Bravest New Face is my answer.
I mean, all solid choices. Even Tyler's three choices. But I do get where you're coming from on that, where it kind of depends on who you think you might be talking to and kind of like getting the vibe for the person. But I don't know. For everyone listening, for sure, go check out the whole record front to back, and then obviously go pick up a record, which we'll talk about links here in a little bit. But it's a solid album through and through, and I'm really stoked on it, and I'm stoked that you guys reached out to kind of be a part of an episode to kind of talk about it, and I'm stoked to also see what's next down the line. Obviously, this album was a few years in the making, as most things with bands happen. Um, you guys probably have a back catalog of other new music that is probably slightly different, that is already taking another vein, that you're ready to get out at some point, and I'm really stoked to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, Tyler has these two adjectives he keeps coming back to for this album, and then the music after this is going to be even further into those veins. Ty, what are those two words?
Depressed and manic.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get really weird. I can't wait.
We're like if you were to take our band as a person, we're basically having like a mental breakdown and a midlife crisis at the same time. So let's just see how this goes. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Well, I'm very curious to see where that goes, but it's also at the same time it's nice that you guys are writing for your times at the same time, rather than being a band that's still talking about like high school problems. So for us people in our 30s and further, like it's going to be a lot more relatable for everyone that's listening, and I'm really stoked to see how that all turns out.
Yeah, I don't remember high school. I think I did just too much damage to my brain in my 20s that like I couldn't retain anything old. No, retain would be keep. I don't know. We
That's all right.
partied our asses off for 11 years now, and I don't know. Yeah, we just got to keep it current, keep it sincere. That's how we play it.
I think that's probably like our I don't know, mantra is kind of lame. But yeah, it's very much a sincerity thing that we try to hold to more than anything. It's just like honest, sincere, and I maybe just like sometimes too close to home, but like we try to hit it hard.
I think it's wild that someone could hold a grudge that long.
Well, if it's your biggest song.
Yeah, I guess you just gotta hold on to it then. And just you could always be like Radiohead and just refuse to play it.
Is that did they not play Creep?
Yeah, they won't play Creep.
Well, dude, I don't even want it. Like I skip that shit, but maybe it's just me.
I don't know what's a lot of Radiohead, but apparently they don't do it. But I don't know. Imagine if you went and saw Blink-182 and they didn't play "Damn It." I wouldn't care because I hear that song every goddamn day on tour.
Oh, like
every band that listens to this, who is like fucking 23 or some shit,
don't cover.
Stop covering "Damn It." Holy
I remember,
fuck.
like on the one tour bigger tour we did, we tried to like tally like all the covers that people did. We at least heard "Damn It" 3 to 4 times. "Sugar We're Going Down" was at least 2 to 3. Paramore, that one really popular Paramore song that I'm blanking on, "Misery Business," was at least like 3 to 4 times. And then we did "Fat Lip" by Sum 41, and of course
that's fun,
which is a fun one, and not a lot of people were doing it. And then of course we were playing a show in Brooklyn, and the opening band did the cover, so we were like, I turned to like my dudes, and I was like, well, I guess we're not doing that one tonight.
No, you gotta get them up there. You gotta get them up to guest vocals.
It's like a reprise. But yeah,
I think one time I did hear the same Fall Out Boy song twice in one night at a show from 2 different bands, and I was like,
we don't have another song, guys.
Nobody did Green Day cover?
Surprisingly, no.
Green Day, they stopped being cool. Unlike Fall Out Boy, which completely sold out. I hate that band.
There are certain touch points you don't get Tyler started with. If you
one of them is Fall Out Boy / Panic at the Disco.
Yeah,
I think that both of those bands ruined a generation of pop punk.
They took it to a new level. But if you actually off of this podcast, but if you have a conversation with Tyler about the show Full House, he has a lot to say about that as well.
Fuck that show.
How many Pandora's boxes can we kick open?
The best part is we're gonna kick them
closed.
Just kick them open, but leave them so open ended that people have to like hope that there's a second episode to this.
We need a code word. We need like a merch like you know, you get to like the 20% off thing. Like we need a code word for the podcast, like so we can like if you put this into the promo code, you'll get 20% off a record. Mike, can we do that?
Yeah, whatever. If you want to put something in, we'll talk about release date after this, and then if everyone listens to the podcast to this point and they hear this promo code, then they can use it for whatever you need.
That would be awesome. Like we need something.
Okay. Yeah, but if you type in Full House in the box, I will come over to your house and I'll punch you right in the goddamn face.
Okay. So we got to make it a big enough discount that someone would be like, okay. Like if we promote it and be like, hey, listen for this huge discount at the end of the episode. Be sure to like Beers with Bands and be listening. What is the discount you get?
Oh no, you get like 50% off. Like this has got to be like a serious, like you basically get it at cost for listening through all of this ranting and raving. And
I'm still gonna hit you though.
But you get sent an angry letter from Tyler.
You get 50% off, and then I show up at an undetermined time.
Okay.
It's just the closing scene from Giant Silent Bob Strike Back. Like he's got the whole list of everyone that used it, and he's just like, "All right, I'm here to beat you up."
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's our promo code? We need a good one.
Full House.
Full House. All right. FULLHOUSE. Full House. If you've made it this far and you want a record still after all this, then you are willing to witness or possibly run the risk of Tyler coming to your house and punching you in the face. Use the promo code Full House. Get your record. Get your merch. It will be available in secret for the rest of the next 2 months.
Yeah, I was a Family Matters kid, so like, Urkel.
yeah.
I never knew about Full House until like college, and it's like it's such a non-threatening, like boring show. Like I don't know why Ty's worked up. What is so bad about Full House? If
Oh
we
God,
have
this is
the
we don't have time for this.
It's
if we have
they abuse the children, and then the laugh track is obnoxious. Like every what the Urkel stuff in Family Matters is one thing, but it's like a tagline. That's just how shit worked back then.
Yeah.
The fucking Full House bullshit is just every single time one of the fucking Olsen twins did anything at all, the dude just falls asleep on the goddamn laugh track button, and it's like it never ends. There's a haunting memory in me that is just like a continuous laugh track, and the Olsen twins just fucking walking around picking up toys and probably getting abused by goddamn producers. Fuck that shit.
That actually explains why they were so fucked up.
But on another note, it'd be really funny if you guys did a Full House knockoff T-shirt. But we're gonna start to transition here.
Yeah.
Just gonna blow right over that. That would be really funny though. But yeah, remember the good old days when everyone would just rip off like trademarked media shit for their bands? That was good times.
we did
Oh
it.
yeah.
Everyone who's got a Ramones ripoff shirt.
That, but like I remember, like I picked up a band tee that was just like the Mighty Ducks logo, but like with the band name around it. Yeah,
We've been talking about doing a jersey, but they're
that'd be
surprisingly
sick.
expensive to make.
Yeah. If you decide to do a jersey, let me know. Holla at your boy.
Oh yeah.
But I gotta say, well, I know I already said it, but this album is great for everyone listening. Please go check it out. One big thank you to the three of you for taking the time out of your Thursday to sit down with me, have a few brews, alcoholic or not. It means a lot that you took the time to do that. I like to leave off these episodes on a high note. I know we've been laughing, having a good time, but after the whole Full House thing, I think we need to kind of move something a little bit lighter to end off the episode. So my last question for you guys before we fully take off is, from your time in On The Cinder, what has been your favorite moment that you've experienced so far?
Wow, that is.
I know it's a lot.
Did you catalog the fact that we've been 11 years deep? Oh man. So this is not. I think no. Okay, we're gonna call this my favorite. So this was the first show we ever played, and we were so bad. We were bad. We had 7 songs we had played, but we had been throwing these shitty house shows together. And I was on but we played our own basement, and we had such a phenomenal time playing badly. But our friends were there, and everybody was like stoked. And I remember I looked over at Mike, and I licked his face from the bottom of his chin until his hairline. And I said, "Dude, I'm gonna play in this band forever." And
I remember that.
and I think he was a little grossed out and a little upset, but by the same token, that we're 11 years later, I'm still in this band, so I guess I wasn't fucking wrong.
Yeah. I got one. Ty, you working on yours still?
It sounds so superficial compared to that. I was just gonna be like, that time that we played with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones was fucking sick.
That was sick.
Yeah. Yeah, like something I thought about with that show was like, their crew was nice to us. Their like TM helped us put our banner up, and
I talked to the drummer for Bedouin Soundclash for like an hour, just about like drum shit. we just like
Yeah.
we just started going off. He's like, "Is that a superphonic?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden, we're talking about like reggae rhythms and like all this shit, and we're like, "Oh damn!" I definitely had to have a moment where I like stepped back to be like, I like know who this guy is,
Yeah.
and we're just kind of talking shop about like playing.
Yeah. I I remember there I was gonna I had that as an idea of that show. Like there's just this moment where like the three of us like are just huge fucking smiles. Like Jay and I are like looking into you at that show, and it's not the greatest picture because we're like kind of turned away from things, but it was like just
But
this
there's
amazing
800
like
people in the background.
yeah, yeah. Um maybe maybe my are we saying favorite moment?
Favorite, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what. Yeah, Jay was
yeah.
very sentimental, and it made mine feel like shit.
I no, that's a good one. We actually on that tour that happened in 2020, we ended up losing uh our whole bank because we kept everything in one little pouch. Like so we lost all the money we made like going out to the West Coast, and we still had like a week and a half to get home. And I was worried that like everyone would freak out, everyone would be just pissed at each other. But like we got back in the van, but we don't know if it was like pickpocketed or like it was left on the floor and somebody snagged it or what. But we just got back in the van. We all had a beer. We all smoked a cigarette, and we're just like, everyone has to say something. And nothing was like against anyone. Nothing was like, you know, it was a moment that could have broke up the band, honestly. Like it was a lot of money, and it, it we came together in a tough time, and you know, I don't know if it was the most positive moment, but it was definitely like reinforced like this band can do anything. We just we just got to get ourselves there.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a solid moment of like this could either break this band or unify it even more. So I definitely get that. That's such a bummer that that happened to you guys.
I just I mean when it did happen, we really saw the national punk community like really pick us up in a lot of ways, financially and otherwise, and it certainly helped too.
Yeah, people like bought out a bunch of stuff from our merch store, and they just sent us cash, and we made these like family and like family friend like Flower House Records patches, and made sure everyone got one of those and got extra merch, and like it was great to get that sort of support.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, those are all great moments from the three of you from your time. I know we kind of talked. The record is out. If anyone's looking for, um, you know, merch, music, or On the Cinder in general, where can they find it?
This is time for your internet line, Mike.
Oh, so after May 8th, the album will be out. No, sorry, May 7th. The music will be out everywhere. It'll be within the Holy Spirit. It'll be in the forest. It'll be in the atmosphere. It'll be everywhere on the Interbuds. If you want vinyl, you can go to onthecinder.bandcamp.com. And if you're in Canada, you can order at steadyriotrecords.com to avoid shitty like international shipping. Steadyriotrecords.com for Canada.
You know, those links will be in the description below. Also, you know, all the socials. So depending on where you found this episode, Facebook, Instagram, X, threads. Make sure you check the hyperlinks down below. Go follow On The Cinder on all their profiles. Be ready for new music, new tour dates. Go get your vinyl. Remember to use code Full House at checkout. And
I made it.
be ready for a punch to the face. I know
Better
you have
try
the
it out.
shows. I know you have the shows in May. You're hitting the West Coast later this year. Do you have dates for those yet, or should we just keep our eyes peeled for them?
We got some dates. We got some dates. The West Coast tour is being booked, but we've got roughly, I can tell you that we're going to be on the West Coast from June 6th through June 16th.
Actually 4th through the 16th.
Oh boy.
Through the
Yeah,
14th?
like 2 weeks.
16th is the Sunday we play in Portland.
Well, everyone, be ready for those days. And like I said, go check the socials for any of those other days. If you're on the West Coast and want to see On The Cinder and, get a copy of the vinyl in person, it's been a fun time. It's been a fun conversation, tangents and all. This is one episode that I haven't recorded an episode in like 2 weeks. I haven't done anything podcast related in like 2 weeks. So this is a great like step back in as I like ramp up for these upcoming summer episodes. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of it.
Oh, we
thanks.
appreciate it.
Blast.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
putting up with our hardcore derailing. That sounds
Dude,
that sounds uncomfortable.
It sounds uncomfortable, but like I said, this is a great time, great conversation all around. Everyone, go check out On The Cinder. Go listen to Heavy Handed. Be ready for everything coming next. And I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Beers with Bears.